Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitch Hiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. As I am finishing off my coffee this morning, as we are going to do some small town stuff today. Little back roads, far off the interstate, even though right now at the moment, I am right next to Interstate 40, and I am in the area known as Mebane, North Carolina, which is going to be the site of North Carolina's first buggy store. And that is what I'm here to see, is kind of how the construction is coming along before I get my small town vlog kind of a day started. And right there it is, look at that. Coming soon, Buc-ee's. That is going to be pretty awesome. I'm sure a lot of people are going to enjoy that. It's going to bring a lot of jobs to this community. But this is what the site looks like where the Buc-ee's gas station is going to be setting in the very near future. Next year in 2027, I think, is when it is going to open. So they still have a lot of work to do. As you can see, they have not gone vertical with anything yet. They're just really grading and getting the land flattened out and ready. And also, if I pan around to my right and look back toward Interstate 40, you can see there's a lot of construction going on right here in the area to probably have to widen the road for the flow of traffic that is going to be heading in to this area to visit Buc-ee's on a regular basis. Yeah, so that is a Buc-ee's update. Never been here to this location before. I was here in the area, just wanted to stop. Now we're going to continue on kind of north of Mebane and make our way up toward Yanceyville, which is a very small community in the northern part of North Carolina, here in the central region. And there's another little small town we're going to stop on our way to Yanceyville I want to go see. And it's probably the tiniest town I've ever shown here on the channel. So really looking forward to seeing that. Actually, someone had told me about this little place and recommended me going there. So that's what I'm going to do today. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and get started. My coffee is about on empty. There is not a lot of coffee left, but I'm feeling good. I'm on full, so I'm good to go. So let's get started. And as I'm driving along the back roads, I come across this awesome mural. Look at this artistic representation of the big cheese himself, Mickey Mouse. How cool is that? And it's very fitting for 2026 because he's actually got an American flag in his hand, being very patriotic. Love it. See you in a few weeks, Mickey. I'm on my way to Walt Disney World soon. So I'm standing here on the corner of North Carolina 49 and Car Store Road. Very beautiful countryside out here. Look at this old store right here, all grown up. This abandoned store. Now the road that this store actually is setting on is called Car Store. So I don't know at one time this was called Car Store, if that's what the significance is to the road name and this being the store, but this place has been closed for quite some time, I would imagine. Look at those old lights up there that you used to see back in the 60s and 70s. Who knows, it might date further than that back. But maybe this right here was about the area where the gas pumps was. Got a little garage over here. Not really sure. And right here is an old sign that you can barely make out right up there in the trees. It's been closed so long, the tree is so big now, you can barely even see the old sign structure up there. Yeah, nature is definitely taking this place back over. Don't want to touch anything, just in case there's some poison ivy, poison oak draped around here. And right there, they did accept MasterCard and Visa So this might be more of an 80s kind of store. Look at all the stuff that's in there though. And I would imagine right here on this side of the store, this here could have possibly been like some bays to wash your car. A little bit of greenery grown up over here, but you can see this was a car wash at one moment, because right here is the drain itself. And this is what the backside looks like. Have a couple old like shipping containers right over here on the backside, probably full of stuff, more storage. Whoever owns this old store probably has those full, because definitely the inside of the store is pretty packed. All right, so this was a really cool stop. Just cruising down the road, and I just seen this out of the corner of my eye, and I had to stop and check it out. I love abandoned locations like this when I'm traveling, and you know, the only real way to ever find little relics like this is to drive on the back roads. That's for sure. Riding along interstates is very hard to find little gems like this. So all that being said, we're going to continue on to our first town, and it's going to be really cool. Can't wait to get there and see it, and I can't wait to show you guys this small town. It's pretty unique. It's made pretty much entirely out of stone. Okay, I'm driving along here on Highway 86, and I've made my way into the small community known as Prospect Hill, North Carolina. Zip code 27314. Right here at the United States Post Office. But the main reason I stopped here is not to show you the post office, but what's right next door to the post office. Come check this out. All right next to the United States Post Office here in Prospect Hill is a location known as Warren Store, vintage goods store. And they specialize in wackiness. Look at this old Ford truck out front here. That is pretty cool. I like the old gas pumps. Sky Chief Texaco. And this in here is a Fire Chief gasoline pump right here. That's pretty cool. Have us a police officer. Some old vintage bicycles out here. Look at that. I actually used to know people when I was growing up that had bicycles that looked that way. Oh my God, this is a relic. Look at these old school sleds right here to go snow sledding. Dang, I ain't seen one of those in years. That is crazy. It's like a tiki Indian right there. And that is a very interesting light fixture. And they have kind of a modern bicycle here, right next to some more really old school bicycles from a really long time ago. And don't really know what this mannequin supposedly is. I mean, I don't know if that's supposed to be hanging on a trapeze somewhere or what's happening, but what else do we got around here? That's the real question. Got some apples. Ooh, look at that. That came off a race car. I don't think it's a Cup Series car though, because it only says NASCAR Winston Racing. That's a 1992. It says right there. I don't know if you guys can read it. Our 1992 Sports Marketing Enterprises. Maybe it come off a late model. Because if it was a Cup car, obviously I think it would say Winston Cup Series or something like that. A lot of very prominent sponsors on there. Ray Obestis, the official brakes of NASCAR, Featherlight Trailers. They used to be big time with Jeff Gordon back in the day. Got some old water skis right here. Interesting place. Very interesting old antique store we stopped at right here in Prospect Hill. Pretty cool stuff. All right, let's continue on. And we have made it to our first town today. Well, kinda. It's not technically a town, I guess, but this here is the Shangri-La, the imagination of Henry L. Warren. And I wanted to stop by here and see this cute little stone village. Look at this. Somebody built this with their hands. That is so cool. I had to stop by here and see this today. I've even had folks over the last year or so tell me about this and say, hey, you need to go check out the Shangri-La village. As you can see, it says, welcome. Feel free to tour the town of Shangri-La. And we're going to do so. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of this little stone village here in Prospect Hill, North Carolina. Shangri-La Stone Village is one of North Carolina's most unusual roadside attractions located here in Prospect Hill. This miniature village was built by retired tobacco farmer Henry L. Warren. Beginning in 1968, when he was in his 70s, he began building this magnificent little town. So how the town come to be was after Henry L. Warren retired from his farming, he started collecting a lot of the stones himself here on his property and nearby land. Over the next 9 years of his life, he constructed 27 miniature stone buildings, each about 5 feet tall. The village includes a church, a school, a library, a hotel, a theater, a mill, a jail, a hospital, and a water tower, and other structures that mimic a real town. So Mr. Henry Warren named the village Shangri-La after the mythical paradise from the novel Lost Horizon. He worked on the project from sunup to sundown and was reportedly still building when he became ill with cancer. And the hospital was the final building he was working on when he died of cancer in 1977 at the ripe age of 84. His family later completed the rest of the village in his honor. And this here is the hospital, White Rock Hospital. And this is one of the biggest structures here in this little stone village is the hospital. Rightly so. Hospitals are always monstrous here in the U.S. Okay, so you can see the hospital, which was the last building that Mr. Warren built. Kind of made my way over here now to this big structure. And it's pretty wild. I don't know if this is a real working little fireplace, but they do have wood in there. Like they're ready to build a little fire, sit out here and have little get-togethers and hang out in the little stone village. Pretty cool. That little old windmill up there. And right here is the water tower. And Snoopy is dressed in his Christmas decor up there. Almost missed you, little guy. Look at Snoopy up there hanging out. Only thing he's missing is woodchuck. And that right there is a monstrous homestead. This fancy little snazzy entrance that they have here. And I would imagine right here would be the jail. Saying that just because, you know, this is kind of fenced in right here. There's a little minion in there. He's been a bad boy. That's okay. Whatever he did wrong, right there is the village church. You can go over there and you know, ask for forgiveness if you would like. All right. That's it. Shangri-La Stone Village completed. That is pretty cool. That is a nice stop right there. Cool little roadside attraction as we drive toward Yanceyville, which is our next stop. So let's go ahead and head in that direction and let's go ahead and take a moment, as we do, and say so long to Shangri-La Village. That is amazing. That is a lot of work and dedication right there. Thank you very much, Mr. Henry Warren and family. All right, exiting Prospect Hill now, and we are making our way toward Yanceyville, which is about 12 miles, give or take. And just in case you've never seen a four-wheel drive stretch vehicle before, now you have. A Ford Bronco. Stretch, like a limousine. So just past the welcome sign into Yanceyville and come across this old structure, and there's a sign out by the road that calls this the Yanceyville House. The original section of this house was built around 1810, and it was the home of Bartlett Yancey, a prominent North Carolina politician and educator, and U.S. congressman, and for whom Yanceyville was likely named for. Yeah, this is an amazing structure. This is absolutely beautiful. Those are big old brick chimneys. That is so wild. So the home was actually built in 1810, but in 1856, the house was expanded with a large Greek Revival addition, giving it the grand appearance that it has to this very day. The property still includes several original outbuildings, which one of them is right here beside us, including a smokehouse, a law office, tobacco barns, and the Yancey family cemetery is here on these grounds. Also, it says. Kind of want to look back here in the back. Look at that old building down the hill there. Wow. That is some cool history. Because of the historical significance, it was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1973. Okay, so right there is the homestead off in the distance. And this here is the cemetery, the family cemetery that I read about online. Now this was a quick stop for me. I did not plan on, even seeing this location. It just was on the side of the road. And I tried to do good. I tried to actually walk out here and see if I seen Bartlett Yancey's headstone, and this one right over here, that tall one, that could possibly be it. But unfortunately, there is an abundance of bees, like yellow jackets and things like that, in and around some of these graves. Yeah, I'm not getting stung for no video, but nonetheless, I think that's his right there, that tall one. And it's so sad because there's a lot of these headstones. When I was kind of walking around some of them, man, I mean, there's like trees and stuff growing up. Like these right over here close to where I think his is. Right there, that's a tree growing up in front of somebody's headstone. You can't even read it. But when I got back in that vicinity, it was like the bees, I could hear the buzzing sound of like hundreds of like yellow jackets. And I was like, oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Been there, done that many times in the past. I don't like bees, they don't like me. And yeah, we just stay away from them. That's their home, I'm gonna let it be. I wanted to kind of show something historical. But when I look at it like this, the whole property is historical. I mean, it's just cool with the family cemeteries here. And it's even more awesome that this epic house is standing right here. That is so cool. And to be as old as it is, I mean, seeing that nobody's doing anything with this, I think they actually turned this into a restaurant at some point. But all that and said, let's go ahead and finish our short commute into the downtown area. All right, my friends, welcome to Yanceyville, located here in Caswell County, North Carolina. This is going to be quite the adventure. Look at this town. This is small town America. This is so cool. I guess that's the courthouse right there. And it says, just like on a dollar bill, "In God we trust." I mean, this is like a throwback to the Dukes of Hazzard, right? Can't you see it? The General Lee speeding around this square right here. Roscoe chasing him. That's kind of what this reminds me of. This is going to be a fun adventure today. Okay, so we're going to start things off right here at this big hunk of steel. And I'm going to tell you, or at least show you, what this belonged to. You will never believe where this come from. But luckily for us, they have a plaque here on the ground that gives us some information. And as you can see right there, September 11th, 2001 memorial. The steel girder in the Memorial Center was recovered from the tower number 2 of the World Trade Center and gifted to the town of Yanceyville by D.H. Griffin Companies, in Greensboro, North Carolina. This memorial plaza is dedicated in memory of the victims of September 11th, 2001 and the subsequent war on terror. This memorial plaza is established as a result of the support and the contribution of the former Senator Hugh B. Webster, Senator Phil Berger, and North Carolina General Assembly. So this here was a piece of the wreckage from tower number 2, the World Trade Center disaster in New York City. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the early history of the town of Yanceyville as I kind of scroll around the court square here. Just give you a little lay of the land. And I think a good spot to start off is probably right here in front of the old courthouse. This place is epic. So how it starts with the early history, Caswell County was created in 1777 from part of Orange County during the American Revolutionary War. The original county seat was Leesburg. In 1792, after Person County was carved from Caswell County, Leesburg was no longer centrally located. Officials selected a new site near the geographical center of the county and established a village known as Caswell Courthouse. And that is the property that we are on right now at this moment. The town was renamed to Yanceyville in 1833 in honor of Bartlett Yancey, one of North Carolina's most influential early political leaders. And look at the artwork, the craftsmanship of this courthouse. Now by 1810, the town had 2 taverns, 1 store, a hattery, and about 15 homes here in the area. So as the town grew, blacksmiths, silversmiths, doctors, lawyers, merchants established businesses all around the courthouse square area. During the 1800s, Caswell County became wealthy from tobacco production, particularly after the development of bright-leaf tobacco curing in the region. The prosperity of the tobacco trade helped transform Yanceyville into an important commercial and political center. So the town's most famous landmark is the Caswell County Courthouse. Construction began in 1858 and was completed in 1861. The courthouse was built with enslaved labor. It is considered one of North Carolina's finest examples of Victorian-era courthouse architecture. And right here next to the courthouse is an information placard. Caswell Courthouse, erected about 1861. Murder of Senator J.W. Stevens here in 1870 led to martial law in the Kirk-Holden War. So what that plaque is actually telling us is back in 1870, a local Republican leader known as John W., nickname was Chicken Stevens, I kid you not, was murdered inside the courthouse amid post-Civil War political tensions. The killing became a major state scandal and helped trigger the political conflict known as the Kirk-Holden War, which eventually led to the impeachment of Governor William Woods Holden. So you got to remember, back in the 1860s and 70s, Caswell County became a stronghold for the Ku Klux Klan. The Klan used intimidation and violence to discourage newly enfranchised black citizens and their supporters. So as I continued to read on about the history about this heinous act, John W. Stevens was murdered by Klansmen here on May 21st of 1870. He was lured into the courthouse and killed because of his support for black civil rights and the reconstruction of policies. And just around the backside of the courthouse is this old brick structure. As you can tell, that is a jail, folks. Look at that. It's even got a little tree, a little sproutling up there growing out of the roof of the overhang to actually walk in. This jail was built during the late 1800s. It was used until 1973. And one of the jail's most famous features, it has a hanging cell. The jail reportedly contains the only known indoor hanging cell in a North Carolina jail. Ironically, shortly after the jail was built, North Carolina outlawed executions by hanging in the county jail. So no execution was ever carried out here at this jail. Okay, I made my way around to the backside of the jail just to see what it looks like back here, but you know, it looks very similar to the way it did in the front. Got the old bars on the windows up there. I know there's a few people that watch my videos and they're like, hey Yeti, that would make an awesome haunted house or an awesome haunted attraction during Halloween. I know you guys love your Halloween stuff. And right here is the Yanceyville Fire Department. Very nice. 5 bay doors for their fire trucks. Really cool. I'm gonna make my way up here into the town square. We're going to get started doing a little walk around, looking at some of these storefronts up here. But first I want to tell you the population. Population here in Yanceyville is 2,912 souls with a median age of 48.9. Okay, so next up, let's talk about demographics. 42.65% is white, 55.65% is black, 0.25% is American Indian, 0.78% is Native Hawaiian, 0.60% is mixed race, 0.07% is other race. And then when we look at the income index, income per capita here in Yanceyville is $19,836, which is well below the North Carolina's $40,311 and the national at $44,883. And then median household income is $34,183. That is really, really low, folks, because North Carolina's average is $71,390 and the national is $81,333. Then when we scroll down a bit, we're going to look at the poverty level here is quite high. 39% of people living here is below the poverty line here in the state of North Carolina. That is wild. State of North Carolina's average is 16.8% poverty, and then the national is 15.1% poverty. So 39 is well above both of those metrics. Now we're going to take a look at crime. Total crime here in Yanceyville is 1,337 per 100K, or 1.3 people out of 1,000 will experience a crime here, which those stats are not that bad at all. That is well below the North Carolina and the national averages. When we look at the percentages of the crime, it gives it a B+. Actually, total crime here is 37% below the national average. Violent crime here is 40% below the national average. And property crime here is 36% below the national average. So Yanceyville is a pretty safe town. Okay, so I'm standing here on the corner of West Main Street and Court Square. And you guys know I am a huge fan of old retro theaters from yesteryear. And look at this gym they have here. Oh my goodness. This is so awesome. And this place has some really cool history to it, because back in the day, even though you can't really read it now, as you can see up here on this marquee, you know, you can't make out what that used to be, right? It was actually written in or painted up there in like a cursive writing, I would imagine. But this old theater used to be called the Caswell Theater, and it opened in 1938. So the capacity for this theater was 386 people. One of the building's most historically significant features was a separate entrance for black patrons during the Jim Crow era. The side entrance led to a balcony section reserved under segregation laws. Okay, so when you're standing here at the front of the theater, you have a side door over here, but this is not the door that they're referring to when it comes to the segregation stuff. This was just a door for something else. I don't know what it was. And you also have a side door here. And right here is the ticket booth where you would buy your tickets. Right there, you would pay. But the side door during the Jim Crow era, what they're talking about where the black people was allowed to enter, was this door. This is the door that you would go inside this door and then you would head up to the top balcony to watch the show. And if we walk around here, I want to show you something that's pretty interesting, because this door here is actually open. So right there is where the ticket worker would work. The side door would be right here next to this wall, and right here is the bottom of the steps, as you can see, where you would go upstairs and watch the movie. That is crazy. Okay, as I stand here on the corner of Court Square and Fire Department Drive, which right there is the Yanceyville Fire Department that we looked at a little bit earlier, come across this old brick structure here, this building. And I looked up there at the top, and as you can see, it says A.H. Mott's. And the name A.H. Mott's refers to Alexander Hamilton Mott's, who was born in 1885 and passed away in 1973. He was a merchant and businessman here in Yanceyville. The building bearing his name was constructed here in the 1920s on the east side of Courthouse Square here in downtown Yanceyville. It was designed by an architect by the name of James Franklin Moorfield and served as one of the town's commercial buildings during the Yanceyville tobacco boom era. Okay, and right here in the center of town, you have this monument with a soldier erected on top. And right here it says, the sons of Caswell County who served in war from 1861 to 65 in answer to the call of their country. Okay, so we looked at the old abandoned theater. This store right here is also abandoned here in town, from what I can tell. Watlingtons. That is a tongue twister for me. That's comical. Oh my goodness. And we got us a bank right here. And now we're going to make our way over here on this little street hidden over here. I think this is the main street. This might be West Main Street was where the theater was. This here is called something else. But I'm thinking it's Main Street also. I do not see a sign at the moment. Okay, so right over here is a really cool wall mural with 4 figures on them that are very prominent to this area, as you can imagine. But it's got some names on here, but not really what they, why they're painted here. So I'm going to try to give you some information I just looked up online. So this first figure right here is Nicholas Dillard. He was a teacher and a principal who helped establish and improve educational opportunities for black students here in Caswell County during the segregation era. And then right next to him, this white woman with the glasses. Her name was Miss Gatewood, and this is one of North Carolina's most recognized artists and an advocate for preserving local history. She was born and raised here in Caswell County. And then the next one over is, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right, Henrietta Jeffries. She was a respected black midwife who delivered countless babies here in the area and became famous for her 1913 court case involving her medical practices. And then last but not least down here, Julius Neil Wadlington. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The same last name as we've seen imprinted on that abandoned store uptown. So this guy was a Yanceyville native. He was a World War II veteran. He was a Purple Heart recipient and a former catcher for the Philadelphia Athletics baseball team. He later owned a department store on the square for many years, and I'm thinking that is why his name is up there at the top of it. So that's it. That is pretty cool. The Philadelphia Athletics. I know the Oakland A's, they was the Athletics. But I guess back in the day during this time period, maybe the Philadelphia Athletics was a thing. I don't know. I always think the Philadelphia Phillies. But never mind me. I'm not a huge baseball fan. I don't know a lot about baseball. I was more of a football fan growing up in the NFL and everything. So, but that's what those murals are all about. I'm glad I looked that up. I gotta say, other than the occasional drive-through traffic, Yanceyville is extremely quiet. Very, very quiet little place, but there is quite a bit of stuff here that's closed, you know, abandoned. Look at this old sign right here. Do not block door. It's a loading zone. Must be for the store right here at the baseball player and war veteran used to own. Got a bail bondsman right here. I just wanted to make sure I show this stuff. Show you some of the stuff. Got a barber shop. We need your head in our business. And one last look at this crazy looking awesomeness of the Caswell Theater. This has been a fun day today. Really appreciate everybody taking your time to watch my videos as usual. Thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, me and my wife, thanks you. You guys choose to do it. That's for sure, man. That means a lot. That's crazy how you go out and you make, they're having a party in that car. Good God, that was so loud. I was just sitting here saying how quiet it is, but that was just through traffic. Every once in a while somebody come by, you know, making some noise, but for the most part, it's a very quiet little community. But all that being said, I'm done today. I want to say thank you so much one more time for watching. Until next time, friends, I'm the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and I hope to see you all again soon. And I'm going to tell you something. I am wrapping this vlog up at just the precise moment because I'm just seconds away from starting to sweat because it is heating up. It is getting hot out here. You can feel the summer temperatures have arrived. It took them a while to get here to North Carolina this year. It stayed pretty cool for the most part, but it's definitely here now. That's for sure. And let's take one last look at this fabulous courthouse. Love this courthouse. Let's take a gander. Let's take one last look at this. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? In God we trust. Just like on a $1 bill. Thanks for watching, y'all. Really do appreciate it.